You are about to start leading the God of the Word beginning study. How exciting! You know, not everyone realizes that the Bible tells a unified story from beginning to end. Genesis means beginning. The biblical book by that name begins the story. It gives so much information that's critical to accurately understanding the rest of the Bible that 2 of the 8 God of the Word studies are devoted to the one book of Genesis. This first study, called Beginnings, covers the first 11 chapters of Genesis. Throughout each God of the Word study, each part of the story, my number one goal in prayer is that you'll come to know the God of the Bible. That's most important. But I also hope you'll see more clearly, or maybe for the first time, how all of the Bible's sub-stories and characters fit into the greater story of redemption. For example, the connection between Adam and Jesus, how Ruth's story fits in, and the relevance of Joseph being sold by his brothers. The more you see the biblical sub-stories and characters in the context of the greater story, the more the Bible will make sense to you. One such sub-story that's covered in Beginnings is the story of Noah and the Great Flood. Since it spans 4 of the 11 chapters we're covering in Genesis, we'll be spending several lessons on it, and we're going to discover how it fits into God's overall plan. But since this video is for God of the Word leaders, I'd like to home in on Noah as an exemplary character and see what we can learn from him. Genesis 6 tells us that as human population increased on the earth, so did the impact of sin. To curb the impact, God determined to send a flood that would destroy every living thing on earth. Because Noah walked faithfully with God, the Lord decided to spare him, his 3 sons, and their wives. So he charged Noah with the task of building a tremendous boat. The Lord gave him a design, instructions to follow, so that in addition to Noah's family, the ark would accommodate a great number of animals over a very long time. The last verse of Genesis 6 says, Noah did everything just as God commanded him. Imagine yourself in Noah's shoes. Imagine knowing that all of your extended family, your neighbors and friends, all of them, were going to die. And the planet, as you know it, would be destroyed. Only you and 7 family members would remain. That was Noah's situation. Genesis 6 tells us that Noah also stood alone for God in a period of extreme widespread violence and evil on the earth. Imagine that. Maybe you can. Yet Genesis 6:9 says that Noah walked faithfully with God. Now, a secret of benefiting from Bible reading is putting ourselves into the story. You and I are leaders in this beginning study. By putting ourselves into this story, we can easily see ways in which Noah gives us an example. The Lord assigned Noah the important task of building the ark. He's assigned us the task of building into people's lives. In this case, those in your Bible study group. That's a big assignment, an important assignment. Noah understood that when you receive an assignment from the Creator, it should be done well. He could have skimped on quality or been satisfied with a smaller boat, but Noah did everything just as God commanded him. One thing we can learn from Noah in this part of the story, then, is that when the Lord tasks us with building something, it's worth doing right. In every task he gives us, our occupations, our home lives, our voluntary kingdom work, we should put effort into learning the trade, determining to do our God assignments with excellence. Do them for his glory. A second thing we learn from Noah and his part of the story is that building something worthwhile often takes time. Building the ark probably took Noah many decades. What would have happened if he'd become discouraged and not finished? You may not see immediate growth in your small group. Faithfulness in our God-given work requires our patience and perseverance. When the floodwaters came, just think how grateful Noah was that he didn't give up. Well, one day, each of us will stand before God and give an account of our lives. We'll be rewarded for persevering in each of our God assignments, and we'll be so grateful that we faithfully completed them. Third, we learn from Noah, as well as from the many other faithful biblical characters with God assignments, to trust God with the results. I don't think Noah would have been human if he didn't wonder from time to time about his success. Would he finish before the flood came? Was he getting everything just right? How would he collect all the animals and enough food? Once they were inside, who'd close the door? Noah's life and the lives of his family members depended on these things. All Noah could do was keep faithfully working and walking with God and trust Him with the outcome. You know, although the canon of the scriptures is closed, that is, all the books have been compiled that God intended for His word to contain, the story of human history is still being written. You and I are part of that story. When our part of the story is reviewed one day, will it be said of us, as it was of Noah, that we walked faithfully with God? Will it be said that we built with excellence? In this case, that we really learned the art of discussion leading? Will it be said that we built with patience and perseverance? In our groups, we'll undoubtedly find that life change sometimes occurs overnight, but more often, it's a slow process. And finally, will we, like Noah, look to God and trust Him with the results of our weekly efforts? Knowing Him, after all, is our ultimate goal. Following this video, you'll have an opportunity to hone your discussion leading skills in the provided exercise. Think through this. Work on it with your co-leader or other God of the Word leaders. Search for helpful tips in your leader's manual. Commit to doing your God assignment with excellence.